Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
Elton Brand sure had some interesting things to say. Someone who did not, Joshua Harris. Hello, dude. What are you doing? This organization just fired their head coach and admitted that they're making front office moves and there's no collaborative effort anymore when it comes to certain decisions. Yet you aren't speaking. Yet you are not informing what's happening to the media and to the fans. You're not explaining what went wrong. You're not admitting that there were plenty of failures that just happened throughout the last couple of seasons. In what universe does the ownership group not talk at all when these major changes go down? See, that's what we're all talking about when we say, what the hell is Joshua Harris doing? What the hell is this ownership group? They are already doing the wrong things when it comes to this fresh start. He needs to be speaking. That's an embarrassment, and it's just showing you the issues with these people. How are we supposed to trust them when they can't even do the little things right? That bothers me. It upsets me. You should be there. You should be speaking on Zoom, and you should be releasing some sort of statements to everybody about where the direction of this team is headed. That is part of your job. That is what you are supposed to do when big-time changes happen in the franchise or with the franchise that you own. It's disgusting, really. It's disturbing. It makes my blood boil because you are at the top. And you want to talk about, accountability with Brett Brown, accountability here, this and that. Well, if you don't have it from the top people, that's where it all begins. That's where it all begins. This episode of Sports Talk with Broads is sponsored by Orbit Energy and Power. And with over 20 plus years of experience in the industry, they are home to your solar experts in both residential and commercial projects. Not only is it just solar energy systems, but water purification systems, backup energy services, battery storage, and more. So make sure you check out their information. It is in the description. We'll start with this. Elton Brand will be hiring the head coach. He will be making front office moves, and he will be looking at the roster. It's on Elton Brand, so we are informed. That is what he claimed. Now, behind the scenes, could it be different? Maybe. There's so much crap that happens behind the scenes in all of these sports organizations, so maybe. But we are told that Elton Brand now has the power to come down with those decisions. And one of the big things that needs to happen is get rid of some of these front office people. There's no reason that Brian Colangelo hires or Brian Colangelo people should still be in play with the 76ers. That's awful, really. I mean, it's just terrible to think that when a new GM comes in, that there's still a bunch of leftover people from a system that did not work. It was not good enough. It was terrible. There's no way that that is a way to operate. You can't operate properly when that is in place. So that needs to happen. Elton Brand was in the GM chair when those contracts were given out to Tobias, Al Horford, and some of those moves were made. I'm not convinced, though, that he was the one saying, hey, guys, I have an idea. Let's sign these players to this type of money. That's where the whole system is flawed, where there's too many voices, where there's people inside that shouldn't even be with the 76ers anymore. That's where the problem lies. That's where decisions like what were made were made. I'm not convinced that Elton Brand said, listen, fellas, here we go. I have this grand plan. I have this beautiful idea where we're going to sign these players to all the money. You want to dive into those conversations about, Brett Brown and Jimmy Butler. This is why Jimmy Butler's no longer here. No. Brett Brown's the fall guy in those scenarios. There's plenty of other people inside the 76ers that are to blame for everything that happened with the contracts, with Jimmy Butler, with all of it. So I give Elton Brand a clean slate. I give him the opportunity to prove to me that he wasn't the reason why it fell apart the way that it did. Now, he did have some interesting things to say about the roster as a whole. He said that not exactly sure what changes need to be made. Nothing is off the table, but he did make sure that he said not looking to trade Ben and Joel, and it's more about building the roster around those players because you don't give up on that type of talent. You try and make it work. And I absolutely agree. I think that's the perfect way to explain it, and it's pretty simple. When you have a talent like you do in Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, you try and try and try and try to properly execute a roster surrounding them. Now, that's not going to be easy, and I know that there are some fans out there disgusted with this quote around Al Horford. Al Horford can fit on a championship caliber team. We'll find a way for him to fit. Come on, what are you supposed to say? This guy doesn't work here. We want to trade him? I mean, if that's the case, then every other team knows that they have the upper hand. They already know that they have the upper hand, but that's just GM speak. That's just one of those standard comments that you say to support someone who is still on the team. He doesn't fit here. He's not going to work here, but he knows that it's not as if all these people are jumping out to try and trade for Al Horford either. So if he is stuck in this scenario where Al Horford has to be here because no one's willing to take on that type of contract, then everyone's going to look back and go, oh yeah, Elton, remember 5 months ago, 4 months ago, 3 months ago, you mentioned that this guy stinks and there's no way in hell that you're going to be able to get anything done. So what is he supposed to say in that situation? I guess the big thing for me when it comes to what Elton Brand said was, that he's in the power, and I just don't think it's fair to heavily crush Elton Brand for everything that has happened because I don't think that it was his fault. There are people within that make decisions behind closed doors, and then there's individuals in place that are the scapegoat, that get all the blame, that get all the harsh comments. I'm not saying Elton Brand had zero to do with it. He obviously has an input, but now things have changed. And there's a reason why he mentioned no longer going with the collaborative effort that didn't work. There's a reason why now he's saying, I am making the decisions. Because before, there was too much input from individuals that should not have that input. And you saw it. It was on display on the court. Here is a very important comment that I heard. Get some more basketball minds in here. And there's no doubt that Brett Brown used a lot of analytics. I don't think Brett Brown wanted to use a lot of analytics. I think he wanted to use analytics. All coaches these days use analytics. Okay? It's just reality. Whether you're a get-off-my-lawn guy who thinks analytics are stupid and you should just go with your gut feel, that's not how sports operates anymore when it comes to how everything advances with technology. So analytics are great, but it does seem as if it was poured down Brett Brown's throat to utilize these very heavily. I was listening to a basketball reporter, a very well-respected reporter in the industry, who was talking about how there were times he went into Brett Brown's office a couple years ago, and there would be maybe 2 or 3 computers with an analytical team, and then within 2-3 years, bang, there's 30, 40, if not even more people talking about, okay, numbers this, numbers that. And I pulled up this article by Marcus Hayes in the Philadelphia Inquirer from 2018, right? Listen to this. Brett Brown's analytics team had broken down 1.28 billion lines of data, and that was just from this season's games. It generated a 10-page game deck that not only highlighted the Heat's offensive and defensive tendencies, but also projected which Sixers lineups would fare best against every Heat lineup, which Sixers pairs would fare best against each Heat pair. So, essentially, they went so heavy analytics, and of course it's tied to Brett Brown's name because he was the head coach, but that's an organizational philosophy. Who's to say that Brett Brown really wanted to go to that extreme? I also read up on an article that talked about these rotations and these sets. It's not like Brett Brown had the decision to go with some of these rotations. Sometimes it was all number-based, all number generated and all down that path where you just go with what the numbers tell you. Sort of like baseball. We can't stand that at times. The managers don't have the gut feel anymore. They're just puppets and they do what are told. Now, that's not to give Brett Brown a free pass, but it's definitely a big part of the equation with some of the rotations. And why does Joel Embiid come out at this time, right? We always talk about that. A couple minutes into the game, 6 minutes into the game or so, here goes Joel Embiid to the bench. Why is that? Well, this front office wanted to go so deep into analytics. Elton Brand states that he wants to get more basketball minds in here, and I think that should happen. I think they should go less analytics, still utilize it. I think it's very important to still utilize it, but you just heard the numbers. You're talking about over 1 billion, almost 2 billion different sorts of data. What was the exact number here? It was something ridiculous. What was it? 1.8? 1.28 billion. Okay, so 1.28 billion lines of data in just the season. That's incredible. And I'm sure other teams use it. That's my favorite argument when it comes to people who are like, oh, analytics are so dumb in baseball. Yeah, well, the Yankees use it. Yeah, well, the Red Sox used it when they won. And teams use it all the time. The good teams use it. The Dodgers use it. So because you're mad that the Phillies use it, and it's not working, well, what's that say? It says that the players realistically aren't good enough, which I can tie to my whole conversation on how I feel about head coaches in the NBA, but there's no reason to go down that road. I think that the philosophy with analytics are a little too strong, and it takes away from some of the standard basketball vibe that you don't get out of just numbers and the number game. And what the numbers will tell you in the data and the information giving based off of the computer. So I think that's a very important approach. Do I trust Elton Brand? I don't know if I'm full out going to say, yeah, 100%. I think he's going to nail this, but I'm going to give him the opportunity to, and I'm going to give him a clean slate. I'm not going to use anything that happened this past year against him because I firmly do not believe that he was the one with the final say. He did say this. He did not know a lot in early goings in the front office, but has learned, knows what needs to be done. So he even admitted, look, in the beginning, I didn't know everything, but I learned a lot, and from now and from this point on, I feel I have the grasp of what I need to do. There's no doubt he's connected in this league, which is very important. There's no doubt that he has great relationships, which is valuable. So let's see if he can put that to paper. Let's see if he can manage those relationships to maybe get away from some of these contracts. At this point, with Al Horford, you think maybe there's a team out there that is willing to take him as a veteran, experienced guy. There's plenty of other bad contracts out there, right? It's not as if Al Horford's the only bad contract in the world. Well, sometimes, most of the time, when a team is sitting with a contract that doesn't work, they try and look for other bad contracts out there and see if they can swap to maybe get some sort of spark plug out of that player. I know the Kings are always brought up. I know Harrison Barnes' contract is always brought up. There's players out there that are struggling in their current situation. They're underachieving. They're underperforming. They're overpaid. And teams might be willing to take a shot because they know what they have isn't very successful. So how much worse can it be? Maybe down the road, there is a move like that for Al Horford, and I think it's very important to go down that road. See, I wonder if Elton Brand starts to do things that upsets the ownership group, Scott ONeill. I know Scott ONeill's name was mentioned. I wonder if he gets some pushback, if he's willing to stand up. If this truly is the way that it's going down. If somebody approaches Elton Brand and goes, hold on a second, Elton, if he's willing to stand up and go, no, this is what I believe, this is the move that I think will work, this is what we are going with. And in reality, that's the type of person you need in place. You just don't know if Elton Brand is that person. Here's the positive. You know the Colangelo people are going to be out of here. You know there's going to be moves to the front office. You just question, okay, is Elton Brand the right guy? You need a guy to step in and oversee everything and start having the last say so they will be able to see everything. They are laying out the blueprint. It's not three different individuals with different blueprints trying to come together to make the right decisions. It's one individual with one idea, although other people around him support the idea, but it's one person making the moves, and that's what you need. You just wonder, is Elton Brand that guy? I don't have the answer, but all I know is I can't judge him based off of what we have seen already because I don't know how much is in play when it comes to other people, the noises, the voices of people that shouldn't even be involved with any sort of decision whatsoever. So it's a very wonky situation that we're in. It's truly disturbing that the top dogs don't feel like they need to speak in a situation like this, and that bothers me because it shows what type of leadership this organization really has. It's flat out not good enough. It's disgraceful, and I can't believe that this is the ownership that I have to deal with the team that I care about so much. I can get behind Jeffrey Lurie. I can get behind him. I could get behind John Middleton, even though he pisses me off and I don't agree with Matt Klentak. John Middleton cares. He cares. He might not be making the right moves, but he cares. He's emotionally tied and investment, and he wants to win. Even though the luxury tax situation, it's wonky, I get it. I'm not saying he's perfect by any means, but I'm okay with him being my owner because I know that he's invested in the right place. These guys don't give a damn about the Sixers. They just don't. They saw something went wrong, and they knew that something had to be changed because it would cost them money since the fan base would be destroying them if they decided to go back with the same head coach, with the same roster, with the same philosophy. So they did it because they knew that they would get shredded and ripped, and they had no other choice at the time. They didn't do it because they cared. And it eats me alive. It really does eat me alive. So looking at some other things. On Ben Simmons shooting, I know that this is the hot item. Oh, a new coach will come in here and make Ben Simmons shoot. You got to force him to shoot. You got to sit him. You got to make sure that he's held accountable. A big word used, right? Because there was that time where he said he wants to at least take one minimum three-pointer a game, and then Ben Simmons didn't shoot it. Here's Elton Brand's response to the whole Ben Simmons shooting saga. I don't know how many coaches would take one of their star players out because they didn't listen to them one or two plays. That's to be determined. Will the next coach? That's to be determined also. So he's saying, hey, would a new coach sit Ben Simmons? And, at that point, you're kind of taking a big risk. If you take Ben Simmons out and you lose that perimeter defense and the other team starts waxing you and the other team starts coming back because you took Ben Simmons out for not shooting a basketball, well, does that help you? Will people then bang on the table and go, well, we want you to sit him, so we don't care if you lose? And it's a lot easier to do that in the early stages of the season compared to down the stretch in a postseason run. You can't do that in a postseason run. That's just ridiculous. I don't think that sitting players at the NBA level is what you do to get the most out of them. Yeah, AAU, Little League, everyone wants to tie all these. Oh, yeah, when I was 16, my coach sat me. That's crap. I don't care about when you were 16. We're talking about an NBA player. You know how soft these players are these days. You're telling me a guy is going to sit there and be like, you're right, coach. Thanks for sitting me. No, I'm sorry. It's just not how it is. It should be that way. I am agreeing that it should be that way where if you sit an NBA star, he should realize, okay, hold on a second. Let me assess this situation. This is why I'm being sat. I would love for it to be that way. I would love for coaches to be able to be harsh and be really brutal and be what coaches used to be at times. It's just not how it is in 2020. You need to adapt with the time. So, I don't think sitting guys all over the place here and there is what you do. There's no forcing Ben. Ben will do it if Ben wants to do it. Ben will do it if Ben wants to do it. Ben needs to want to do it, but Ben will do it if Ben wants to do it. It's that simple. It's that simple. The whole, you need to sit this guy, sit the superstars, and you might be able to get away with it one time. One time. Okay, maybe I could see a scenario where I support it one time. But what are you going to do? Do it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times? At some point, it loses the message. At some point, it's not as impactful. Ben Simmons will shoot when Ben Simmons is willing to shoot. And you did see that he started to take it more over the 8 regular season games, if you will. He didn't even play all 8 because he got injured, but you saw him taking it more, not to where I want it to be by any means, but you saw him take it more. Maybe the shock factor of a new coach will implement more to it, just the shock factor. It's not. There's a situation that's possible where he shoots it because, look, a new coach changes the energy surrounding the team. You want to make sure that your coach sees your skill set. You want to prove to the coach what you can do. Just the shock factor forces Ben Simmons to show, hey, coach, I can do this. Even though I have a mental hurdle in a game, I can do this. It doesn't mean the coach forced him to shoot. I've been in a locker room when I was playing in the Eastern Hockey League where we did have a coaching change, and it is pretty brutal when the new coach comes in. You don't know what to expect. You don't know what type of guy you're going to get. You want to make sure in practice, this is my skill set. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I can do for you on a nightly basis. And from there, the mentality does change. There's no doubt about it. When it comes to the head coaching hire, Elton Brand said that he would like to have it in place before the draft, of course, which makes a lot of sense, but it's going to be a process, and I think that is the way that it should go. When I heard that Ty Lue was already having mutual interest with the 76ers, I'm thinking, dude, you just fired Brett Brown. You can't just rush into the hire. You need to gain a lot of information. You need to talk to people. You need to speak with the right individuals. You got to give everyone a chance when it comes to interviews, because there's a lot of people out there, and I'm not against going with some sort of assistant. It doesn't need to be the splashy name. You don't need the Van Gundy because, oh, I heard him on the broadcast. No. You don't need all that crap. I'm not dying if they don't get someone who is a big name, a Ty Lue, a Van Gundy, a Mark Jackson, whatever. It doesn't need to be that way. Go out and get an assistant if that's the best man for the job or woman for the job. Just go out there and make sure you interview every person, because at this point it is a pivotal part of the organization. Big time. Not just with the head coaching hire. This offseason is big, and it will form what's to come down the road. I don't think that this is a one offseason fix. This is going to be a multiple offseason type deal. But this will be the offseason that allows you to go down a certain road. There's 3 paths right now that you can take, right? You need to pick the right one to set you up for the future, because we all understand, okay, it's time for a step back. We went into the last couple seasons with the expectations of, hey, it's time to go win a title. It's no longer that. Now it's, okay, how do we fix this roster problem? How do we fix the head coach? How do we fix the front office? How do we fix all of it? Do we have the right general manager in place? We don't know. We're just going to go with Elton Brand at this time. So with that being said, this is the area now where it's, all right, it's been a mess. Let's assess this right. You can't fix this overnight, but you can fix this. Let's do it. Let's dive in that way. Let's see how we can assess the situation and set us up for the next couple off seasons to be able to utilize some cap space. It's not like Elton Brand has a lot of wiggle room. My gut says he finds a way out of this Horford deal. I hope my gut is right. There's times where it is, there's times where it's not. Let's hope it is. I feel like he can, and if he can, that's huge. It opens up a ton of space. It's just, doesn't look too good, though, that contract. It doesn't look eye-popping. Doesn't look juicy for other teams to take that risk. It comes down to how you sweeten the deal, of course, and if there's other bad contracts available where you're just making the swap and hoping that that fit is better, which it's hard for it to be worse, right? So overall, I mean, I'm not underwhelmed by it. There might be some underwhelmed because now Elton Brand seems to have more power, but that's only if you associate the decisions made over the last year with Elton Brand. Does he have a say in it? I'm sure. I don't believe that he had the final say, though. I thought that there were some people involved that shouldn't have been that forced the Sixers to go down this road. Only time will tell. I do know that Elton Brand is aggressive. We've seen him be aggressive, so I only expect, and once again, though, were those moves all him? We don't have that information. I don't think all those moves were, but we've seen the ability to make some acquisitions and do some interesting moves. I sense that he will go with an aggressive mindset when it comes to this roster, knowing that they can't live like this. He knows it. He understands it. He gave you coach speak, GM speak when it came to that Al Horford deal. He knows it. We all know it. If Joe Schmo down in Sicklerville knows it, I'm telling you, Elton Brand knows it. So keep your eyes out. Can't wait. Can't wait to see what's next. Something to keep in mind, by the way, getting rid of those Colangelo people, that's great. But he's also going to be bringing in some experienced help as well, so it seems. So even though you're getting rid of the problem, bringing in some help is totally a fantastic move that could benefit this organization as well. It seemed as if he wants to bolster up that front office. So bring in some minds that have been around the block, that know what they're doing. Not just get rid of the problem people, the problem that was with Colangelo and that whole group, but bring in some new voices that can help Elton Brand that he trusts. That's a great philosophy that I'm willing to see how it plays out with him. Thank you all so much for listening. Support for Sports Talk with Bros is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. You don't want to be cutting yourself, not when you need to look beautiful downstairs. And you don't have to worry about that because of the advanced skin-safe technology with the ceramic blade, so you no longer cut yourself. It has a 7,000 RPM motor with the quiet stroke technology, LED lights so you don't miss any spots in the shower. That's right, you can take it in the shower. If you're listening to me right now, you need to experience this. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code BROD at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code BROD at manscaped.com. Thank you all so much for listening, and I will see you next time.